All right, let's dive right in. Number 11, the Protection Acts governing the saguaro cactus. In Arizona, inflicting damage upon a saguaro could land you a maximum of 25 years incarceration. This severe penalty exists because these titans of the desert require an eternity to mature. It takes approximately 75 years just for the initial branch to sprout. Some specimens exceed 200 years of age, meaning they predated Arizona's establishment as a state. They are also absolutely essential for the viability of desert fauna. Birds build residences in them, bats utilize their cavities for sleep, they support countless creatures, essentially a multi-story apartment complex for wildlife. A single large saguaro can fetch up to $10,000 via illicit trade, but capture brings hefty penalties and that potential quarter-century sentence. A few years ago, some brilliant mind decided to spray paint several saguaros near Cave Creek. The subsequent statewide outrage was immense. It was akin to defacing the Statue of Liberty. You aren't even permitted to relocate one without explicit governmental authorization. Number 10, the prohibition on driving for sumo wrestlers. Following a car accident where a sumo wrestler was involved, resulting in the death of a young woman, the incident caused upheaval across Japan and jeopardized the reputation of the sport. Consequently, professional sumo competitors permanently forfeited their rights to drive. You must understand that sumo wrestlers in Japan are more than mere athletes. They are national living cultural treasures, essentially walking museums clad in loincloths. Their every minor action draws more attention than any viral cat clip. The Sumo Association acted decisively post-accident, issuing a complete, non-negotiable ban on operating vehicles for all currently active wrestlers. No loopholes, no way around it. These individuals already operate under extremely rigorous constraints. They cannot select their attire, groom their own hair, or even post online without authorization. Thus, adding no driving wasn't a huge regulatory leap. They now rely on chauffeurs or must squeeze onto public transit. Just picture yourself on a crowded commuter train when a 400 lb living mountain suddenly forces itself into the space beside you. If you've watched this far, please give me a like and subscribe. Since I lost my old channel, I truly need your support. Alright, let's continue now. Number 9. Kentucky's law concerning artificially colored animals. Once upon a time, people believed it charming to market dyed ducklings as presents for Easter blue, pink, rainbow ducks, resembling literal Easter eggs that could walk. Kentucky was compelled to intervene with a definitive absolutely not. The issue was that those coloring agents were fundamentally toxic to the vulnerable young birds. The chemicals absorbed through their ultra-sensitive skin, causing illness. Some developed rashes, others ingested the toxic pigment while attempting to preen. Furthermore, removing their natural camouflage was a guarantee of early death in nature. A vividly colored blue duckling might as well carry a sign reading "Free Duck Dinner," as predators could easily spot them from afar. And once the artificial color faded, leaving just a regular duck, they were discarded quicker than a previous generation iPhone. Apparently, a plain yellow duckling lacked sufficient novelty. If caught today with a tie-dyed duckling, you face significant financial penalties. Kentucky is fiercely protective of its baby animals. Number 8. Banning the feeding of pigeons. Venice will penalize you merely for scattering a few breadcrumbs for the birds. The justification? Pigeons are, quite literally, decomposing the city. Their droppings possess such high acidity that they physically corrode stone. A single pigeon generates roughly 25 pounds of waste annually. Now, extrapolate that figure across the thousands of pigeons inhabiting a major city. That volume constitutes sufficient toxic avian ordnance to transform ancient landmarks into structural Swiss cheese. These creatures also reproduce with alarming speed faster than rabbits high on caffeine. 2 mating pigeons can lead to 400 birds within just 2 years. Consistent feeding will cause your municipal square to become immediately overwhelmed. In Mumbai, the pigeon infestation was so severe that commercial aircraft were forced to adjust their flight patterns. Some locales even employ covert operatives tasked with spotting pigeon feeders. Getting apprehended can result in hundreds of dollars in fines. Number 7. Singapore's sweeping prohibition on chewing gum. The year is 1992, and Singapore's metropolitan rail system keeps malfunctioning. The primary antagonist? Chewing gum. People habitually deposited their masticated residue everywhere, stuck beneath seats, pressed onto elevator controls, and crucially, lodged in train doorways. This was more than just unsightly. It actively crippled the subway when doors failed to seal correctly. The breaking point arrived when people began affixing gum directly onto the train door sensors, resulting in millions of dollars dedicated to repairs and chronic schedule disruptions. Try picturing yourself arriving late to your job because some individual couldn't locate a waste receptacle. Today, if you are caught marketing gum, you risked penalties of up to $100,000 or a 2-year prison sentence. The sole allowance is if a medical professional provides a prescription for therapeutic gum, such as nicotine replacement gum for smoking cessation, or specialized dental gum. Try imagining going to your physician saying, "Doctor, I desperately require my juicy fruit supply." However, the restrictions succeeded. Singapore ascended to global recognition as one of the planet's tidiest cities. No more unexpected sticky residue when grabbing a handrail. No more gum-clogged transit doors. Number 6. The official Major League Baseball regulation regarding mud. Ray Chapman was fatally struck by a pitched ball in 1920. The fundamental issue was that new baseballs were excessively bright and slippery. That disastrous event fundamentally altered the sport of baseball. Subsequently, a man named Lena Blackburn discovered a unique, almost magical mud in a creek. This specific mud proved ideal for dulling the ball's sheen without causing any degradation. Hence, they mandated its universal usage. Currently, every MLB contest utilizes around 156 baseballs, and each one undergoes a mandated 30-second mud massage. This specific substance still originates from the same undisclosed location along the Delaware River. Only a single family is aware of the exact source, and they collect it under cover of darkness, operating like genuine mud ninjas. Researchers have attempted to engineer synthetic substitutes, yet nothing performs quite like the authentic material. The mud contains an optimal balance of clay and sand, naturally processed by the ebb and flow of the tides. Number 5. The prohibition of tattoos in Japanese onsens. If you possess body art, congratulations. You have successfully disqualified yourself from the majority of Japanese hot springs. Even a miniature butterfly on your ankle is grounds for rejection. These communal bathing facilities maintain an uncompromising no-tattoo policy. This is not rooted in an antipathy toward art. Rather, in Japan, tattoos carry a profound historical association with organized criminal syndicates. In past decades, body markings served essentially as a gang membership credential. The Yakuza decorated themselves with complex, full-body tattoos as symbols of status and pride. Consequently, when native Japanese observe tattoos, their immediate reaction is not, "Oh, how lovely, that individual must adore their mother." Instead, they think, "That person must be fond of racketeering." Today, more than 50% of Japan's onsen rigorously uphold this mandate. Even if you are simply a tourist bearing a minimal tattoo, you may be denied entry. Some contemporary establishments offer specialized adhesive patches for concealment, while others provide private soaking areas where patrons can bathe without causing offense to the local populace. Number 4. The blue traffic signals in Japan. Japanese citizens will instruct you to drive when the light illuminates in blue. Are they suffering from color blindness? No. The green signals in Japan are genuinely perceived as blue. Historically, ancient Japanese vocabulary contained a limited number of color terms, using the identical designation for both blue and green. It was as if they viewed these shades as a single, harmonious collective, rather than distinct hues. When Japan began installing traffic lights, a dilemma arose. Global convention demanded the lights be green, but the local language insisted on calling them blue lights. In response, the government introduced a shrewd compromise in 1973. They engineered a unique blue-green wavelength, satisfying both requirements. It is sufficiently green to adhere to international standards, yet blue enough to honor the national linguistic custom. To this day, Japanese children are taught the term aohor midori, often rendered as aoshingu or blue-green signal, which translates literally to blue signal. This doesn't stop at traffic devices either. You might hear people referring to apples as blue apples when describing unripe fruit. It's simply the way their linguistic framework operates. Number 3. The Arkansas Pronunciation Ordinance. In the year 1881, Arkansas legislated against pronouncing its name as Arkansas. And yes, this statute is authentic. The origin of the name traces back to the Quapaw people via French explorers, who recorded it as Arkansas. However, because French functions strangely, the terminals remains unvoiced, similar to how one omits the S's sound when saying Paris. People persistently mispronounced it like our Kansas, suggesting it was the odd relative of Kansas. This incessant error infuriated the residents to the extent that the state legislature had to formalize the correct pronunciation. Imagine being so irritated by people butchering your name that you outlaw the error. The statute remains in force today, designed to safeguard the state's Native American and French linguistic lineage. Although nobody is currently being detained for getting it wrong, the locals will undoubtedly subject you to more severe scrutiny than a panel of reality television judges. Number 2. The restriction on pet rabbits for stage performers in Queensland. Do you desire a companion rabbit in Queensland, Australia? That will incur a $45,000 fine unless you happen to specialize in pulling things from headwear. Rabbits are essentially categorized as ecological antagonists in Australia. These destructive cotton-tailed pests reproduce faster than a video clip achieves virality on TikTok. 2 rabbits can multiply into 84 individuals in a mere 18 months. They have already inflicted billions in agricultural damage and decimated indigenous animal populations. The damage was so extensive that Australia constructed a 2,000-mile barrier fence solely to exclude them. Recognizing the impossibility of a total ban, particularly for entertainment, the government made an allowance. You cannot realistically conjure a kangaroo from a top hat. Therefore, if you can demonstrate credentials as a professional magician, you are permitted to keep a rabbit. However, you must have that documentation proving your magical expertise ready. You won't acquire a bunny license simply by mastering one card manipulation tutorial on YouTube. Finally, number 1. The legislative mandates surrounding the guinea pig in Switzerland. Suppose your guinea pig passes away in Switzerland. You had better acquire a replacement companion immediately, or you are violating the law. Guinea pigs are exceptionally gregarious animals that experience profound depression when isolated. We mean clinical depression, resulting in refusal to feed and becoming ill, the whole dreadful process. It's comparable to placing a human being in solitary confinement, but for miniature, furry potatoes. Consequently, the Swiss Federal Authority declared, "We simply cannot tolerate unhappy guinea pigs within our borders." They criminalized the ownership of a single guinea pig. Therefore, when one of your pets dies, you are legally obligated to obtain another or risk transgression. This rule inherently perpetuates an infinite cycle of mandatory guinea pig acquisition therapy. This unique regulation has actually fostered a strange micro-industry in Switzerland, the rental of guinea pigs. People lease temporary companion guinea pigs specifically for aging pets so that the owners avoid being trapped within an inescapable loop of perpetual replacement.